What is up, everybody? I'm here to give you my thoughts on Moon Knight Episode 2. This will be a spoiler-filled video because I'm just going to be talking about what happens over the course of the episode and what I thought about it as a whole. And to start this off, I would like to say I apologize, Ethan Hawke, for calling you Kevin Bacon. I did bring this up in my last video.
Flashback.
I want to say it's Kevin Bacon, but I'll have to look into that later. So in later videos about Moon Knight, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, and I will correct it in the future.
End of flashback.
I said I would address it and, fix accordingly, that I called you Kevin Bacon, and that's what I'm doing now. I apologize for calling you Kevin Bacon. You are not Kevin Bacon, you're Ethan Hawke. You are the main antagonist of the series, so I will address you as such going forward. Now, let's move on to the rest of this Moon Knight episode. I don't think it was as good as Episode 1. Episode 1 was a really tight story. It was very thrilling, and I loved Steven's fractured mind, not understanding what's going on with Mark and Khonshu, and not getting why he's missing time and everything. I think they really executed it very well, but this episode just didn't land because it's the exposition episode. They're like, hey, we want to get to the cool stuff, but this is only a 6-episode series, so instead of trickling everything down throughout the course of like a 13-episode series or 10-episode season or whatever, they're like, we need to get everything out now so that we can do everything fun and cool that everyone wants to see later. So this entire episode is just, let's explain why everything's happening. We learn why the villain's doing what they're doing. We learn who Mark Spector is. Not completely, obviously, there's still mystery to be unraveled, but for the most part, you're like, you know who Mark Spector is. You learn who Layla is. You learn more about Khonshu. You learn more about the god Ahmed. You see more of Moon Knight in action with suits and everything like that. You kind of get a better idea of how the powers work, and it's just like throwing everything at you in the course of the entire episode because we got to get through this. We got to explain everything. Everybody needs to understand what's going on. They explain what the scarab is and what it is, and it's just like, okay, I get it. You guys need to do this, but this episode just isn't hitting as well as episode 1. There is one really good scene later on in the episode that I'll talk about in a minute, but let's start from the beginning. So the episode starts off, Steven wakes up, he's like, oh man, it was another dream, I'm not going crazy, none of that stuff happened last night, and then he goes to work, and then it hits him that, damn it, everything was real, because he sees repairmen coming out who fix the toilet, he talks to the security guard, he's like, bro, you gotta check the security cam footage, and he shows the footage, and it's just him freaking out and running through the museum because the jackal from episode 1 is invisible on the camera footage, which I thought was interesting. So Steven is talked to, and you get like a little tidbit of something that'll happen later on in the season, is that Steven is handed a mental health facility flyer called Providence, and from one of the trailers that I saw, it looks like Steven and Mark eventually get locked up in Providence at some point. So this is setting up for that, I'm assuming. And he's like, yeah, thanks. He gets fired from his job at the museum. And then he tries to talk to Mark. He's like, yo, talk to me. Explain what's going on. And Mark doesn't say anything to him, and neither does Khonshu. And he's just like, ooh, damn it. So he starts investigating more. He tries to find the storage unit that Mark has, because it's one of the 2 things that Steven got from Mark's little hiding place inside of his apartment. It was his cell phone that had Layla's number and his butler, who is in the comics, and he had a storage locker key. So he went around to every storage unit in town to find the storage locker. He gets there, and luckily the guy's like, oh yeah, bro, you come here all the time. I remember you. So he lets him into the storage unit, and Steven goes in there, and then he starts snooping around, and then finally Mark's just like, Steven, stop. You're looking into things that you don't understand and that you don't need to know, so stop it. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. I like seeing this bit. I like seeing Mark and Steven interact with each other, because honestly, I think that's the best part of this show, is that seeing Oscar Isaac just like flex how good of an actor he is by having both Mark and Steven in the same scene with the mirrors and everything talking to each other. It's really, really cool. I really like that a lot. And Steven starts investigating, so he opens up like Mark's duffel bag, and he sees that, Mark's been living in the storage unit, and he finds his passport, and that's where you get his full name reveal, Mark Spector, which that is a badass name for a character. Anyway, he finds the scarab in the duffel bag, and he's just like, you know what? I'm done. You destroyed my life. I don't care what it is you have to do. I'm taking this bag of contraband to the police, and they're gonna lock me up where you can't do anything, and I'll be fine because nothing bad will happen to me. And Mark's just like, Steven, come on, bro, chill, chill, don't do this, chill. So then Steven tries to leave, and then Conchu starts freaking the hell out of him, and he's just like, give it back. And Steve is just like, oh god, and then he runs off, and he finally runs into Layla. And then that's where you meet Layla for the first time, and they interact with each other, and I'm like, okay, this episode's okay so far. There's nothing too crazy that's going on. But you finally get to meet Layla, and I really do like Layla. She's a very fun character. She isn't anything crazy, it's not like how Kate Bishop was, where I was sold on her character from scene one, but Layla's not bad. I do like her, and I find her believable as the wife of this psycho vigilante Moon Knight. So, this is the part where the episode starts to falter a little bit, because they do a thing that shows do a lot, where characters don't explain things in the most concise way possible to get other characters to understand. They'll be vague under the guise of they don't really understand what's going on, so that the episode can progress the story in a way that they want it to happen. And I didn't really like that, because Steven is trying to explain to Layla what's going on with him, and you hear Mark in the background like, Steven, shut up, don't talk to her, do not tell her anything, Steven, shut the hell up. And instead of Steven going, okay, listen, so you said you're married to Mark Spector, right? I apparently have a split personality, because I am Stephen Grant, and inside of my mind, he's talking to me right now, is Mark Spector. I feel like Layla would believe that, given the fact that she was married to a man who worked under a god of moon and vengeance, who literally spawned a superhero costume to beat the hell out of people. So I feel like she would have been able to understand that, but Steven's like, I don't know how to explain what's going on with me, but I'm not Mark, I'm Steven, and I really don't know what's going on, and here, let me show you this, and it's just like, dude, just say you have split personality. Or at least say you're possessed or you have split personality. That'll get your point across. Well, it'll be like, I don't really get, like, I'm not sure what's going on. I didn't really like that. I feel like he could have just easily been concise about it. But, obviously they wanted to pad out the story more and, not have Layla figure it out so soon. It's just, whatever. I didn't really like that part of the episode, but that happened. So he ends up giving Layla the scarab, and then fake FBI agents show up that work for Amit and Ethan Hawke, and they kidnap Steven, and they take him to their facility that we saw Ethan Hawke in at the beginning of the first episode, and he gets to meet the people of the town, and they're all very peaceful and happy, and you learn more about Amit, and this is my favorite scene of the entire 2 episodes. I like this scene probably the best between everything. My favorite Moon Knight scene is probably the end of episode 1, and then my favorite Stephen Grant scene right now is probably this scene. So Ethan Hawke is talking to Steven, and he's like, hey, so listen, I need that scarab so I can resurrect my goddess so that she can exact true justice upon the world. And he's just like, he explains what Khonshu does. He's like, Khonshu is a god of the moon and of vengeance, and he exacts his wrath on criminals who have already done wrong. And Steven's like, okay, that makes sense. And you hear Khonshu in the background. He's like, I'm true justice. And then Ethan Hawke is like, but that doesn't work, because, that means innocent people get hurt. So Amit, she uses her powers to see the future and judges people on what they could possibly do, and then she kills them upon that. And then Steven immediately points out the flaw in that system, and he's just like, wait, so she kills people based off of something they might do in the future? He goes, so does that mean you do that to children and babies as well? You kill babies because 30 years from now they might do something evil? You don't know that for sure. He's like, I draw the line at killing children and babies. Like, that's not okay. And they all like, how dare you point out this very logical flaw in our cult religion of this psycho Egyptian god? And then, they kick into an action set piece where Layla shows up with the scarab and everyone's chasing after them. She gives it to Steven. He puts it in his pocket there, running and everything. And she's like, okay, listen, we're going to die. You need to become Moon Knight right now. And he's like, I don't know what that means. And Mark's just like, give me the body. And she's like, you need to become Moon Knight right now. And Mark's just like, give me the body and I'll save you. And he's just like, please, everyone stop yelling at me. He's like, I can't deal with this. And he starts freaking out. And she's like, okay, I will stop. We'll figure something else out. And then a jackal comes in, like tackles him out the window. And then this is where he gets the suit. I know it sounds weird, but like Moon Knight has multiple costumes, and one of them is a suit that's like a tie and vest and everything and blazer jacket with the Moon Knight mask on. And Steven ends up putting that on. So they kind of allude to the fact that the Moon Knight suit turns into whatever the person is thinking of, more or less. So Steven was thinking of putting on a suit because everyone kept talking about a suit, and he doesn't know what the Moon Knight suit looks like. So when he thought of a suit, it popped onto him, and it's, you know, the Moon Knight suit from the comics where he's like wearing a tie and blazer and everything. I thought that was interesting. I liked the fact that they implemented that suit into it by saying this is the dichotomy between Steven and Mark, is that Mark obeys Khonshu and he wears the ceremonial garb and everything, which is the Moon Knight costume that you saw at the end of episode 1, and that Steven wears this new suit because, you know, he doesn't know about this world. So he just thought of a suit and just popped onto him like that, and that's what he's wearing. So I thought that was cool. I don't know how it's implemented in the comics. I haven't read every Moon Knight comic, especially not the run where that suit is implemented. As I mentioned, I only read a few issues of the 2006 run of Moon Knight, and I didn't see that suit in it. So I don't know how it gets implemented into the story. You'd have to check somewhere else for that. But anyway, so, you know, Layla and Steven, they're trying to fight this jackal, and it's not going very well because although Steven has all the powers of Mark now, he has all the powers of Moon Knight since he's in the suit, he isn't able to beat the jackal because he doesn't have training. He doesn't know how to fight. Like, he hits the jackal once, but then it like gets back up and lashes out at him. And, you know, finally, after getting tossed around for a bit, Mark's just like, are you going to give me control now so I can kill the jackal and that we can live? And Steven's like, fine, you win. I'll give you control of the body. So then gives him control of the body, and he changes into the Moon Knight superhero look. And Layla sees him, and she immediately acknowledges that that's Mark now. And she's just like, get the jackal out of here. And he's like, copy that. And he dips off, and the jackal chases after him, and it was like a really cool parkour chase that I liked between the two of them, and he kills the jackal. But of course, he drops the scarab in the process, and Ethan Hawke manages to pick it up. And this led to probably my second favorite scene now, is Steven is trapped inside of like their mindscape realm, where Mark usually is talking to Steven, and you get an explanation of why Mark works for Khonshu, and Steven has this really heartfelt scene where he's talking to Mark, and he's just like, I don't like it in here. He's like, is this where you are when I see you in the mirrors? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm in that mindscape. He's like, it's not fun, but just breathe through. You'll be right. He's like, I don't like it. I feel like I can barely move. He's like, I want to get out of here. He's like, give me control of my body back. And he's like, I don't know about that one, Chief. I can't. I'm thinking, but nah, I don't. It's like, oh, well, it looks like you're stuck now, Steven. So Steven's like freaking out, and he's like yelling at Mark. He's like, you're a terrible person. You're a monster, you know? He's like, I can't give you control. I don't want you to hurt people anymore. He's like, how could you do that to Layla? Like, how could you want to divorce her and everything? And he's just lashing out at him. And what I originally thought from the trailer is actually Mark. In this scene, I thought it was Steven in the trailer, like you would see Mark in a mirror and he was going to freak out and like kick the mirror because he's freaking out and he doesn't want to hear Mark talk. But actually, it was the other way around. Steven is yelling at Mark from inside of the mirror, and Mark freaks out and like starts kicking the mirror. And then after that, Steven is like receded back into their mind and he can't really communicate at the moment. And then Khonshu shows up and he's like, you effed up, bro. And he's like, listen, hear me out. I can fix it. He's like, you can't fix it. He has the scarab, and he's like, listen, I'll take care of it. He's like, don't worry. And then we're done. He's just like, yeah, we could be done, but then like I'm gonna make Layla the next Moon Knight, and you don't want her to be Moon Knight, do you? And then Mark's just like, son of a. So I'm like, you know what? That's kind of effed up. But also, I really do like that because something I had heard about Moon Knight is that Khonshu is usually ambiguous from time to time, depending on the run that you're reading. That you don't know if Khonshu is real or not, or if it's Mark's like psychosis that's causing him to view all of these things. And I think it's cool that Khonshu is like an actual thing here, and that he's also a dick. And he's just like, yeah, okay, sure, this will be your last job, but I'm gonna make Layla the next Moon Knight, and then you're not gonna like that because you love her and you don't want her to get hurt. I mean, I'm keeping up our end of the bargain, but also like you still gonna be Moon Knight, so I win either way. And I'm like, man, that sucks, but it's also pretty cool. I do like that he does this, and Mark's just like, damn it. All right, so where are we going now? And Contra's like, where the hell do you think we're gonna go? And then the episode ends really nice because it's like a very different dichotomy. Because like they use the bedrooms in this series to establish Steven and Mark. So when you see Steven's apartment, it's very like neat. It's like slightly messy, and then it's got like all the stuff in there for him to ward off freaking out in his bed and everything. And then you switch over, and at the end of this episode, you see Mark in a room, and Steven is dressed in like, when he goes to bed, he's in like full pajamas. He's got like a shirt on, pajama pants and everything, and then you switch to Mark. He's just in like some underwear. His bed's all messed up. He's like drinking a whole bottle of whatever the heck is in that alcohol, and he's just all messed up, and he just staggers up, and he opens the blinds, and you see he's in Egypt now, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like the dichotomy that it shows between the two of them in setting and everything. I dig this, and I'm really looking forward to episode 3 because, holy crap, it's the midpoint of the season. Jeez, like I know it's only 6 episodes, but it's just like it happened so quick. Like 6 episodes is not very long, so like this is gonna be a midpoint already. Damn. Anyway, so I'm really looking forward to episode 3 because this looks like episode 3 is gonna be Mark Spector in the front with Steven in the background, and I'm looking forward to seeing that because obviously people who are fans of the comics, Mark Spector is Moon Knight. He's the one that puts on the suit. He's the one that worships Khonshu. He's the one that beats down the criminals. He's the one that does all the stuff that people think is cool and all the, Mark Spector is that. So this next episode seems like Mark Spector is going to be in the forefront, and it's going to be his episode, and we're going to see him do stuff, which I think is going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And overall, episode was still good, even though I didn't like it as much as the first one. As I mentioned, my gripes about it, but yeah, that about really wraps it up. So that was Moon Knight episode 2. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts. If you made it to the end of the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification, all that jazz. And remember, folks, you're innocent till proven villainous, and I'll see you next week for episode 3.